Book for the love you deserve. Thank you for purchasing my first book. Let me start by saying I'm no expert by far. However, I have been through enough love aches and heartbreaks that I picked up some very useful information along the way. Nothing in this book is new. I promise you have seen all of these concepts at some point in your life. The difference is I try to make everything relatable. Your mindset is everything, so we must address it. Women, we have to take back our power. Once we recognize that we have the power, the game changes. However, the bigger question is, are you ready? Are you prepared to recognize your faults and make a conscious change? Are you prepared to walk away if need be? Are you willing to wait it out if he truly is worth it? To give you some backstory, about a year ago I wrote a popular blog on the subject of heartbreak. This blog did so well that I decided to expand on it and turn it into a book. The feedback I received helped me to craft this book. This playbook is broken down into 5 major concepts: forgiveness, expectation, acceptance, worth, and my favorite, the closer. I describe each idea and back it up with some one-liners that strengthen each concept. Read the book in order and go back as many times as you see fit. Open your mind and enjoy. Introduction to the Playbook. It's no coincidence that you chose to read this book at this particular time in your life. There is about to be a significant shift in your love life, and I hope you are ready. I am a firm believer in the concept of writing your own story. This playbook will be essential in helping you to lay the foundation. I know you are probably wondering what credentials I have that could make me equipped to give out information on love. If you aren't thinking it, then you should be. Advice is so easily accessible these days, but all advice isn't good. But to answer your question, I had the best teacher ever: experience. Why you need this playbook. If you are in a relationship, this book will help you ensure that you are giving the love you deserve and that you are receiving it. If you are single, this book will help you focus on being a better you rather than looking for someone better than your ex. Once you commit to making a better you, you will attract a better spouse. Either way, this book will be an essential guide to getting the love you deserve. It's easy to go around thinking all men cheat, and I'll never find love. I have been there, but it's the furthest from the truth. I had to do the first thing, understand that there were still good men out there. And secondly, I had to accept that I was worthy of love. I'm telling you, I was hurt so often that I thought I wasn't capable of being loved. I legitimately believed that I was hard to love, and at that time I probably was. Keep reading and you will figure it out. But before we get started, I need you to remember a fundamental concept. Learn to control your feelings. The truth is, you become dangerous when you learn to control your emotions, both in life and in love. So put your feelings in your pocket as we go through this book. I want to talk to your head. We'll get to the heart sooner than you think. Forgiveness. You are probably wondering why forgiveness is in this book, and more importantly, why is it first? Well, that's simple. You cannot love until you heal, and you cannot heal until you forgive. In the words of the great Sean Carter, you can't heal what you never reveal. So, yep, you guessed it. It's time to do some soul searching. Think back to someone you once loved or someone you currently love that may have betrayed or hurt you. Forgive them. If nothing comes to mind, search even further. What triggers you? Your triggers are what hurts you the most. Once you find the culprit, forgive them. Even if it's your parents, forgive them. And oh yeah, highlight this part. Just because you forgive them, it doesn't necessarily mean you need to let them back into your life. And yes, forgive them even if they aren't sorry. Forgiveness is for your healing, not theirs. Sometimes people don't apologize because they are ashamed. And in my case, some people don't apologize because they are just jerks. Either way, let it go. You will never know growth until you forgave someone that wasn't sorry. It changes you, I swear. You can't worry so much about them and what happens to them. I promise you, every dog has his day, and karma doesn't sleep. I could write an entire book on forgiveness. It took me 15 years to learn to perfect it. At this point, it's like I have a PhD in forgiveness, so trust me on this one. Apologies must be as loud as the disrespect. I will be the last person to tell you who to take back and why you chose to take them back. But I will say, think about the wrong they did, and before you decide to allow them back, make sure that their apology is as loud as the disrespect. If they went out of their way to hurt you, they better go even further to heal you. Remember, if you take them back, they will never be the same. It can be better or it can be worse, but never the same. Never regret the love you gave. This is one I had to work on myself. At one point, I regretted every relationship I ever had. My hurt ran so deep that my mind forced me to forget them and everything about them. It was a little sick way my brain chose to deal with the hurt. I decided to avoid my feelings as opposed to dealing with them. For years, it worked, or so I thought. In the end, I ended up emotionless and empty. This is until I ran into the right one. This is directly related to the last one. Never regret being a good woman to the wrong man. Instead of regretting it, learn from it. Be honest with yourself. As good as we think we are, you can probably find where you went wrong if you look. What that means is use all of this to prepare you for the man that is meant for you. Every experience, both good and bad, is necessary for your growth. During my last relationship, I tried hard not to nag him, that I pretty much let him do whatever he wanted to do. I rarely questioned him, even though I knew I should have. I used the experience to know that that was not the way I should be in my next relationship. When you see red flags, please don't ignore them. Those flags are best faced head on. If you ignore them, I guarantee you will see them again. If you choose to cut ties with those that hurt you, remember to cut ties with the version of you that allowed it. Case in point, if I choose to hate my ex for the things he did, I must also hate the version of me that allowed it to go on. Pick a side. How is it, or maybe why do we choose to forgive men who cheated on but we hate the result of the cheating? Let me explain. I have a friend that decided to take her man back after he cheated and impregnated the woman. I know you're probably saying that's common. Many women take their cheaters back. You're right. However, my issue is with the hate she has for the baby. How can you hate the baby and the mama and not the daddy? But I guess that's another story for another day. The point is, if you are going to forgive, you need to forgive fully. If that baby reminds you of the hurt, that means you are still triggered. Reread what I said about what triggers you, and then decide if you will forgive him entirely or not at all. But pick a side. I know it was real when you blocked me. If you are as good as a woman as you think you are, your absence will be felt. If he has you blocked, he is still triggered, and so is his girlfriend. You are a threat to their happiness. But just because you still trigger him, it's not a sure way to tell that he still loves you. And that leads to the next point. Expectations. Expectations can be challenging subject, but a necessary one. Your expectations form a part of your mindset, whether good or bad. What you envision directly correlates with your mindset and your expectations. Expectations are also personal. My expectations may not necessarily be the same as yours and vice versa. And just because mine is mine doesn't lessen the validity of yours. Let me explain. Some kids dream of living in a big home. Some dream of living in a condo, and some have plans of never leaving their parents' homes. And while we may look at all three scenarios differently, none is inherently better or worse than the others. It is the same with occupations. Who's to say that your job as a doctor is any more or less important than a teacher? Our dreams and expectations are our own. With that being said, some women aspire to be wives, some mothers, some girlfriends, and some as life partners. While I've heard it before, I don't honestly believe that some people want to be alone forever. We are human beings. We were not created to be alone. Now, I know some life situations will have you wanting to be alone forever, but we all know that we will mostly all choose love if given a choice. And for those that wouldn't, I highly doubt you will be reading this book anyway. For this playbook's purposes, your expectations in your current or future relationship are essential, and more importantly, it's primarily based on your mindset. What are your goals and expectations for your relationship? These are things you need to understand now. Let's get into it. Let go of expecting people to be a certain way because you are. Because you are reading this book, I will bet my last dollar that you are cut from a different cloth. You are a special person who deserves the love you give. However, don't hurt yourself by thinking the person in question has the same heart as you. I like to think that I am also cut from a different cloth. In fact, the cloth I'm cut from can't even be found anymore. That helps me to understand that everyone is different. Stop expecting you from everyone you meet. You cannot change anyone's behavior by loving them harder. Many of us make this mistake of trying to save our relationship by loving harder. But if that person isn't the right one, loving harder will only secure the fact that you will be hurt even harder. People change because they want to. Never forget that. Timing will not always be in your favor. No one says it better than T.I. Nothing can destroy a situation like a changed mind. Honest feelings and bad timing make for a painful combination. Trust me on this one. You can have all the love in the world, but if the timing is off, so will the relationship. Sometimes you can skate along a little longer than usual, but eventually things will catch up with you. Align your mindset to accept when time is not on your side. To sum things up, you cannot give someone a blessing if they aren't ready to receive it. And even if that blessing is you, move around. Don't judge your love life or lack of it by what you see on social media. This one should go without saying, but for the sake of this playbook, I'll address it. Everything that glitters isn't gold. Just because people appear to be happy online doesn't mean it's authentic. Some of them are miserable. Miserable, I tell you. Whew, I digress. How many times have you seen a happy relationship end with a severe and sometimes deadly offense? How many times have we seen relationship goal couples in the middle of some only for TV drama? It happens often. Don't compare your love timeline to social media. Period. Do you have a 30-day, 90-day, or any weird relationship rule? Cancel it ASAP. There's no perfect timeline on what should and shouldn't happen and when it should happen. Real love just happens. I've seen people get married that had sex on the first night, and I've also seen people wait 60 days and still get dogged out. The bottom line, there's no cheat code to this game. You have to prepare yourself, what you are doing now, and get into the game, what you will do very soon. Let go of your type. Sometimes we miss out on the best gifts because we don't like how it's packaged. For years, I drove a black on black QX60, fully loaded. I loved that car and couldn't even fathom driving anything else. A few days ago, I purchased a brand new 2021 loaded Hyundai Palisade, and I haven't looked back yet. So many people look down on my decision as if I somehow downgraded, but little do they know that Hyundai is packing some power. An essential expectation mindset to understand is if he is going to cheat, he will cheat. There is nothing you can do to stop him. There is no secret. Either he is loyal or he isn't. You can cook and clean. You can be beautiful, the most sexiest, sweetest person in the world. You can be flexible, and you can even remove that dangly part in your throat. If he wants to step out, he will. My good friend always says that a man will be a man, but honestly, I hate that excuse. All men don't have to be like that, and more importantly, we don't have to accept it. I know I said expectations was a difficult one, but this one is 10 times harder. I see this come up as an issue more often than not. This is also a concept that we are 100% in control of. We can't control their feelings toward us, but we can control how we react. Accepting when you aren't the one is tough, but necessary. There is no way to have a successful relationship with someone that doesn't want to be with you. This was a harsh lesson for me. No one wants to admit that they aren't wanted, especially by a person they feel they love. And let me throw this in there. Just because someone loves you or has a love for you does not necessarily mean they want to be with you. I don't want to write it again, so I'll ask you to read that sentence again. Did it feel better the second time? Nope. I know. It usually takes a while for this one to resonate. I let go of my last two loves. I'm still hesitant to say love, but I will for the book's purposes. But I choose to let go because they weren't mine. And no, I wasn't a side chick. I was a so-called main chick. Let's get into it so I can explain better. If they wanted to, they would. It can't get any more fundamental than that. We are all adults here. Shoulda, woulda, coulda don't live here. If he wanted to, he would. Bottom line. No response is a response. You ever get into a text war with your significant other and all of a sudden responses just stop? Minutes and then hours go by and still nothing? No response is a response. He is telling you everything by saying nothing. Stop giving him the benefit of the doubt when he doesn't deserve it. Let it go. I know it hurts, but you have to let it go. Like I said earlier, he wasn't mine, so I let him go. I know you've seen that tug of war meme when a person on the other end lets go and finally looks at the damage to his hand from holding on to that rope. Relationships can be like that too. Sometimes you get more damage from just holding on. You can't make someone appreciate you. As good as I am, I will never be right for some people. All I can do is be myself, and the right person will see me for who I am. When Mr. Right finally came, he saw it. I didn't have to push his nose in it like a puppy. He just knew. Some of us could have good woman written on our foreheads, and some men still couldn't read it. That goes to show you, everyone can't read your love language. The right one will. With that being said, queens don't chase. Understand that you will not be everyone's cup of tea. If he doesn't want you, let him go. Don't you dare beg him. Just like most women dislike weak men, men dislike desperate women. I mean, you can wait him out if you have time to spare, but that's a gamble you have to take. I hope it's worth it. The more you learn to love yourself, the easier it will be to get this concept. If you truly know your worth, you will know they should be chasing you and not the other way around. He doesn't respect you. If you have to tell someone the same thing repeatedly and he doesn't change, leave. He doesn't love or respect you. And for that one, I said what I said. No need to expand. Be with someone who loves you loudly, publicly, privately, and behind your back. Now, this one will ruffle some feathers, but I'll be damned if I'm with a man that I have to keep a secret. To be honest, I felt like I was a secret all my life. Initially, I couldn't control it, but I choose not to allow it as an adult. Now, I'm not talking about people that want to keep their love life private. We all know there's a difference. You know when a man is hiding you, so don't even start with the excuses. I've seen men tell their girls don't post pictures of me. I saw a man publicly tell his girl she couldn't walk with him just the other day. What the hell? You are either cheating, holding out for another woman, or you are embarrassed. Pick one. There is no way someone who truly loves themselves would allow that. I keep my love life private, but not my lover. Side note, being posted won't stop him from cheating. We addressed cheaters in an earlier chapter. If he's the right guy, he won't leave. This is funny given the fact I said I walked away from my last two relationships, but it is what it is. We weren't meant to be. But back to my point. When my last relationship got to a low point, my dude bounced. 9 months pregnant, on maternity leave from work, no car, and he still left. Yep, y'all see what kind of winter I was dealing with, right? So you should also see why I was able to walk away. Full disclosure, it wasn't easy, but looking back, it was necessary. Never let someone make you an option when you should be a priority. This one is self-explanatory. Don't let him treat you like a chicken back. Girl, you a lamb chop. Don't forget it. Don't waste time on someone that doesn't want what you want. If you want to be married, don't waste your time on a man that doesn't believe in marriage. If you want kids, don't waste your best years on a man that doesn't want them. Stop thinking you can change people. Sometimes we can get them to slip up, but if they don't want it, they still don't want it. Eventually, you will have to deal with it. If they aren't making the time, you aren't the one. No one is that busy. Trust me when I tell you this. If someone wants to make time to spend with you, they will. If they don't, they will make an excuse. Lastly, you won't have to force what's real. Using this same formula, if you force it, it ain't real. It's only a matter of time before the fake get exposed. Know your worth. This is hands down the most crucial chapter in this book. Nothing else will work until you know your worth. I know the term seems cliche, and it is. However, it's essential. You have to know your worth, and then you need to add text. If we truly love ourselves, we will never allow ourselves to be mistreated, hurt, or abused. Quiet as it's kept, we teach people how to treat us by what we allow. Someone once said we all eat lies when our hearts are hungry, and I felt that. If I gained a pound for all the lies I willingly ate, I'd be 3 seasons of my 600-pound life all by myself. Because I didn't love myself, I searched for love in men who had no intention of loving me the way I needed. Is it their fault? Well, yes and no. Since this is a self-help book, I'm going to focus on my weaknesses, not theirs. It was my fault for not loving myself. As I look back, I'm embarrassed at the things I allowed merely to say I was in a relationship. The new me is appalled at the old me. The other day, I read that Chris Tucker only made $10,000 from the movie Friday. I posted this on Facebook the other day, and as usual, I was met with a bunch of buts. But it was a small movie. But it was a small budget. But he made out like a fat rat after that. But. Yes, those are all great points, and I agree. However, I don't want you to miss the forest for the trees. Friday is hands down one of the best movies ever. 26 years later, people are still reciting lines, posting memes, and telling Felicia bye. Do you get my point yet? The fact is, can you imagine if the writers, producers, and Hollywood would have known Friday's work back in 1994 when they were probably writing, filming, and preparing a budget? Okay, enough of that. Let's break it down. Read through this chapter as many times as you see fit because I need you to get this one. I'm too wifey to be treated any other way. Even if you don't want to be married, I would assume you still want a man to respect and honor you, like he would his wife, right? Of course, who wouldn't? So that means you must demand it. Play your position. Say this one out loud. You chose your position. No man can give you the side chick position without you accepting it and playing your role. Men will do with you what you allow. You are worth more than late night texts and sex hookups. I know some people think that's all they want, but they know the truth if they are honest with themselves. No one wants to be treated like trash. Some people accept it because they think that's all they could get. But I'm here to tell you, you deserve more. So act like it. Don't compete or compare. Someone will always be prettier, sexier, and smarter than you. Some will cook better, clean better, and some may be better. But are you ready for this? They still aren't you. You have to love yourself enough to see your value. Girl, you are worth far more than rubies, so act like it. Think of it like this. Even if you gave out the recipe to your favorite dish, mine still wouldn't taste like yours. My sauce will always taste different, and that's my power, and it's yours too. You ever look at a couple and say to yourself, why did he choose her? It's her sauce. I promise. Love doesn't hurt. I know it's a common theme that love hurts, but I'm afraid I have to disagree. True love doesn't hurt. What hurts is rejection, confusion, uncertainty, infidelity, lies, and loneliness. People sometimes confuse it with love. It's not. Love is the one thing that heals all, so don't get it twisted. And if he hits you, leave. It won't get better. Go before it gets too late. Love should never physically hurt. Desperation. This one is tough. But don't be desperate. We know you want love. We know you need love. And sometimes we know when you are in love. Be careful what you post. Sometimes professing your need for love is as dangerous as advertising you will be out of town for a week and your home is empty and the door is unlocked. Some people are unfortunately just looking for a come up. Some people have no issue with playing on your insecurities and your pocketbook. So be careful. When it's time, the right person will come along. No need to advertise. Peace. Don't go to war with yourself to bring peace to someone else. Know your worth. Child, don't you dare go disturbing your peace to make someone else happy. Don't you even think about it. Highlight this one. If he is worth the risk, keep him. If not, cut your losses now. So remember a few pages back, I said that I'd never be the person to tell you who not to take back or who not to wait for. Well, that remains. However, there's a caveat. If we pretend our road to his love was a race and he was the prize, would he indeed be worth it? I know a lady who ran a race with many girls and many obstacles to get her man. After about 10 years or so, she finally got him. But guess what else she got? A black eye, 2 babies that he made during their relationship, 4 that he made before the relationship, some more cheating, some baby mama drama, some ex-girlfriend drama, and I could go on. Sure, they have some dope Instagram photos, and maybe she has the relationship she always thought, but was the prize worth it? If you know baseball, you know how vital the closer is. The closer is the pitcher that comes in and finishes off the game. They get a couple of quick outs, and that's it. These guys are the one inning specialist who has only one job: finish strong. If I had to give all my chapters a position, my only chapter would easily be my closer. I need him to be short and sweet and secure this win. Last we learned about loving ourselves, and now we learn to implement it truly. This self-help book will be considered a failure if it didn't help at least one person. And I honestly hope it's you that I help. However, I need you to be the closer. It's time to own it. Everything we went over in these last chapters is now on your playbook. So what are you going to do with this knowledge? Take your lick. I hope I'm not too street. If you don't know what that means, it's the street equivalent of own it. I saw an Instagram parable that told the story of a lady who saw an injured snake and nursed him back to health. After the snake got back on his feet, well, kind of, he bit her. Don't miss the message. Can you imagine the audience's faces when she told them she found a strange snake and he bit her? Long story short, sometimes we are asking for it. Don't get me wrong, I know people change, but a jaguar can never change its stripes. It may be able to conceal them, but they won't ever change. Don't miss that one. When God, the universe, blocks it, leave it alone. I remember after I broke up with what I thought was my first love, I was sick. I mean, I physically couldn't eat, sleep, think, or anything. I was out. I listened to the radio until I bucked myself up to get my man back. I wish you could see my eyes roll. At that time, Mariah Carey had me thinking that We Belong Together was written for him and me. In fact, I hate that song to this day. But anyway, I eventually got him back. A year later, I became a single parent. It's funny now, but not so much then. One day I have to write a book on that dude. Wait, let me fix that. I need to write a book on what I accepted in that relationship. Woo, child, let me move on before I get angry again. Don't forget, when one door closes, lock it. Check your loyalty. Loyalty kept me in some situations that common sense should have taken me out. If I had one thing that I can teach my daughter, it would be that true love is not measured by how much hurt we can take off a man. I was loyal to a man that in his own words said he was only using me for sex. Crazy, right? I know. I didn't even know my stuff was that good. I have people using me. It's not funny, but it's my therapy, so relax. I would have walked from Manhattan to Brooklyn to get this dude a cheesecake. And today, this same dude will walk right past me and never even so much as bat an eye. Messed up, I know, but it's my life. I blame myself for giving myself to someone who wasn't worthy. I saw red flags, but I ignored them, all because my heart was hungry. Don't be that girl. Manifestations work. Prayer is still powerful. Don't be afraid to ask for exactly what you want. I know y'all think that the prayer with Sierra and Russell is just for games, but I love the concept. You can't be afraid to ask for what you want, and shame on anyone that tells you otherwise. Love is love, I know, but it's right to like what you like. Last year, B. Simone got a lot of flack for a statement she made. I disagree with those that shunned her. Being equally yoked is important. You wanting a certain kind of love is your right. I hope you got something out of this book. While I'm sure every single concept won't apply to you, I hope that you embrace the ones that do. If you miss anything, don't miss this. You deserve the world. And no, I'm not just saying it. I mean it, and I believe it as well. Even if you have to give the world to yourself, you still deserve it. I remember there used to be this Valentine's Day tradition in high school where boys would buy girls a balloon or flower sets. I was never that girl that had the boys after me, so I wasn't expecting any balloon or flower sets. So guess what? I bought myself one every year and put it from your secret admirer. No one knew but me and the girl that took the orders. I mean, you know now, but let's keep that between us. It's funny now, but it seemed a bit desperate back then. Even so, I wouldn't change a thing. Even back then, I knew no one would ever love me more than me, and that should be celebrated. When those baskets got delivered to class, I still act just as shocked. I smiled just as hard, and I even conspired with my friends to figure out who this mystery man was. Needless to say, we never found him. Your wound is never all your fault, but the healing is all on you. This book equipped us with the tools to bounce back. We should be able to dust off the hurt and keep moving. All things work together for good. We just have to be patient enough to find that good. After one of the biggest heartbreaks ever, I went to my boyfriend's mom for her support. You know what she told me? She said you wouldn't be the first or the last. Wait, really? I couldn't believe that was her words of encouragement. I honestly felt like I was stabbed twice that day. But what could I expect? That was her son. I mean, that's what I told myself to make sense of things. But as time went on, I learned that I needed to hear that. The truth is, no one cares. We all have sad stories. Every person walking has a story that can be told. The thing is, just because your story is sad doesn't mean that things should or will change. What's done is done. Me retelling the story didn't fix my relationship. In fact, it probably made things worse. It's so bad now that he even gets mad if I mention him or even thinks I'm mentioning him. I'm like, really? You should be honored I even mention you at all. But you're right. Name forgotten. I'm too wifey to be treated like this by anyone. I took control of my life and my feelings and I moved on. With that being said, you deserve someone that will love you as you love you. I wasn't looking for love, but it found me. The same girl who thought she was unlovable and hard to love has run up on a man who proves me otherwise. Back then, I would question God as to why he would allow me to be hurt so much in love. If it weren't for my babies, I have no idea where I would be. I was empty for so long that I didn't think I deserved anything. My best friend can tell you, I was the loudest proponent for anti-marriage. But remember, insecurities are loud. As loud as I was screaming F love, I was secretly hoping someone would come in and prove me wrong. On December 25th, 2020, I finally happened. I became a fiance. I know this isn't the end, but I still have work to do. I have to stop and celebrate every victory. Someone finally saw in me what's been there. In close, be full of love, but be more cautious. Your heart knows things that your mind can't explain, but don't allow your heart to take you somewhere common sense will tell you to leave. I'm so excited about our new outlook on relationships, and I can't wait to hear all of your success stories.